word lingered in the air, sharp and ugly, as if it had weight of its own. Ashley's hand tightened around the edge of the dining table. The wood pressed into her palm, grounding her, because for a moment she felt like she might lose her balance. "What, stutterer?" she asked, turning slowly to face him. "He's your son, Caleb." Caleb let out a breath, already tired. "Ashley, don't do this. He's 4 years old and he still can't speak properly. My parents brought it up again today. They're concerned." Concerned? They were concerned about the speech of a boy who just turned 4 years old. Ashley felt something cold slide down her spine. She followed Caleb's gaze. Their son stood by the doorway, his small body half hidden behind the frame, wearing socks that didn't match. One foot was bare, toes curled against the floor. He watched them with wide eyes, as though unsure whether he was allowed to exist in this moment. His fingers twisted into the fabric of his shirt. "Mama," he whispered. Ashley's heart clenched at the sight of her son. "Don't," he struggled, breath hitching. "Don't yell." The room felt too loud when the boy spoke up. "Don't talk about him like he's not standing right here," Ashley said, her voice sharp with restraint. Caleb frowned. "I'm not insulting him. I'm being realistic. Pressure helps children improve. If we don't address this now..." Their son took a small step forward, then stopped. His eyes filled, confusion mixing with fear. I to try," he said desperately. "I'll be good." Ashley dropped to her knees. She wrapped her arms around him, pulling him into her chest. He smelled like soap and crayons. His body shook against hers, every sob silent, as if he had already learned to make himself smaller. "It's okay," she murmured, stroking his hair. "You're okay. Mama's here." Caleb watched them, his expression tight. "You're coddling him," he said. "That's why he's like this." Ashley stood slowly, keeping one hand on her son's back, feeling his rapid heartbeat beneath her palm. "He is 4, she said, each word deliberate, "and you're talking about him like he's something that needs fixing." "That's not what I meant." He sighed. "It's exactly what you meant," Ashley replied. "Every time your family looks at him like he's defective, you hesitate. You won't say nothing." Their son peeked out from behind her leg. "Sorry." Ashley's breath caught. She bent slightly, cupping his face. "No, honey," she said firmly. "No, don't be sorry." Then she looked at Caleb. "He doesn't need your expectations," she said quietly. "He needs his father." Silence stretched between them. Ashley lifted her son into her arms. "If you can't accept him as he is," she said, her voice steady now, "then we're done." Caleb's restraint snapped. "Fine," he said sharply. "If you want to leave so badly, then leave." Ashley stiffened. "If you want a divorce, we'll get one," Caleb continued, his voice rising. "Take him and go. I won't stop you." The words came faster now, uglier. "You're acting like this is the end of the world. It's not. People move on. I can move on." Ashley stared at him, disbelief freezing her expression. Caleb scoffed. "I can marry someone else. Have another child. A proper son." The room went dead silent. Ashley felt as if the air had been knocked out of her lungs. For a moment she could not breathe. Her grip on Gabriel tightened instinctively as his small body tensed in her arms. Gabriel flinched, sensing her unease. "Mom," he whispered, pressing his face into her shoulder. Ashley swallowed hard. Her throat burned. "A proper son," she repeated softly. Caleb did not take it back, and he didn't want to. He straightened as if proud of the words. "I won't ruin my life over this. If you want to play the martyr, do it alone." Ashley's eyes burned, but she refused to allow the tears in her eyes fall. Slowly, carefully, she set Gabriel down. She crouched in front of him, smoothing his hair with trembling fingers. "Go to your room," she said gently. "Mama will come get you in a minute." Gabriel hesitated. "Mama, I promise," she said, forcing a smile. "I promise." He nodded, small and obedient, padding away with hesitant steps. Ashley waited until his door closed. Then she stood. She looked at Caleb as if seeing him for the first time. Not the man she married, not the boy she once loved, just a stranger standing in her home. "You will regret this," she said quietly. Caleb laughed, short and dismissive. "Don't be dramatic." Ashley shook her head. "Not today, not tomorrow. But one day you'll remember this moment, and you'll regret ever opening your mouth." She turned away, that That night, she packed only what she needed, and she left. 4 years later, the wheels of the suitcase rattled softly against the tiled floor as Ashley pushed it toward the airport exit. 4 years ago, she had walked through these doors with a broken marriage, a frightened child, and nowhere certain to go. Los Angeles had watched her leave without mercy. Now, 4 years later, she was back. The terminal buzzed with noise, voices overlapped, announcements echoed overhead. The air smelled faintly of coffee and recycled air. Gabriel walked beside her, hands tucked into his coat pockets, eyes scanning everything around him. He frowned slightly. Los Angeles isn't what I thought it would be, he said. It's loud and messy. Ashley glanced at him. And what did you expect it to be? So different from Germany? Bigger, he said quickly. And, I don't know, not so crazy, I guess. Ashley smiled faintly. Not everyone organizes their city to your liking. Gabriel made a face. Well, maybe some people are kind of silly then. Ashley stopped walking. Gabriel, don't say things like that. He shrugged, a little embarrassed. I'm sorry, Auntie says there are silly people everywhere, no matter where you go to, so we should learn to tolerate everyone. Ashley glanced at Gabriel, smiling faintly at his sensible words. She adjusted the strap of his backpack and pushed their suitcase a little faster toward the exit. The crowd swirled around them, and for a moment, everything felt almost normal. Then a voice cut sharply through the noise. Ashley Bennett. She froze mid-step. Gabriel's small hand tightened on hers. Mom? A woman stepped out from the crowd, striding toward them with effortless grace. Ashley's stomach tightened as recognition hit. Carol, Caleb's older sister. Gabriel instinctively ducked behind Ashley, pressing himself against her side. Ashley's hand went to his shoulder, holding him close without breaking her gaze from Carol. Carol's lips curved into a polite, almost casual smile. Ashley, Carol said again pleasantly, it really is you? Ashley nodded once. Her face remained calm, but her fingers tightened around the suitcase handle until her knuckles ached. Carol. Beside her, Gabriel stiffened. He didn't need to be told who this was. The tension in Ashley's body had already warned him. He slipped behind her instinctively, small hands clutching the back of her coat like a shield. Carol noticed that her eyes dimmed for half a second, just enough to take him in before lifting again. So this is Gabriel, she said lightly. I almost didn't recognize him. The way she said his name made Ashley's stomach tighten. Gabriel peeked out from behind her leg. He swallowed. Hello. The word stumbled, cracked in the middle. Ashley felt it like a pinch to the chest. Carol paused, her lips twitching slightly in disgust. Oh, she said softly, as if the thought had only just occurred to her. He still does that? The words were casual, almost fond, but they landed like a slap. Ashley didn't hesitate to talk back when it came to defending her son. It was a long flight, she said evenly. He's tired, and he doesn't do well with strangers. Her hand slid protectively over Gabriel's back, grounding him. Carol hummed, thoughtful. Of course, changes can be hard on children. Her eyes lingered on Gabriel a moment longer than necessary, as if confirming what she already suspected. He was always sensitive, she added lightly. Some children just are. Ashley's jaw tightened. Some people mistake sensitivity for weakness. Carol's smile didn't falter. Do they? Gabriel pressed closer. Mom? Ashley squeezed his shoulder. It's okay. She looked back at Carol, her voice calm, controlled. We're in a hurry. Naturally, Carol said easily, stepping back, travel days can be exhausting. Then, as if remembering something trivial, she added, Caleb will be surprised to hear you're back. Ashley felt her chest tighten. Carol smiled once more, perfectly pleasant. I'm sure we'll talk again. The taxi pulled away from the curb, merging smoothly into traffic. Los Angeles unfolded outside the window in a blur of concrete and light, familiar yet distant, like a memory she was no longer sure belonged to her. Ashley leaned back against the seat, one hand resting on her lap, the other loosely holding Gabriel's. He sat quietly beside her, legs not quite reaching the floor, gaze fixed on the passing city. It was quiet, too quiet. And she knew that silence. It was the kind that followed discomfort, when thoughts crowded too closely for words to come out easily. Carol had seen them. The moment replayed in her mind with sharp clarity. The way Carol's eyes had flicked down to Gabriel. The pause. That single casual sentence. Oh, He still does that? Ashley closed her eyes briefly. Carol was not the type to keep information to herself. If she had seen Ashley, then the rest of the family would know by now. Caleb would know. His parents would know. Every person who had once looked at her son with disappointment thinly veiled as concern would know that she had returned. And they would want to see him. Not because they missed him, not because they cared, but to assess, to measure, to see if Gabriel had become what they considered acceptable, to see if he had outgrown what they once called a flaw, to decide if he was, finally, worth acknowledging. Ashley's fingers curled slightly against the fabric of her coat. She had always known this moment would come if she ever returned. She had just hoped for more time, a few days perhaps, enough to settle in, to let Gabriel acclimate before the past came knocking. But Carol had accelerated everything. Ashley turned her head slightly and looked at her son. He was frowning faintly now, eyebrows drawn together as if he were working through something important. His reflection in the window looked small, thoughtful, and far too perceptive for his age. "Gabe," she said softly. He looked up at once. "Yes, Mom?" Her chest tightened at how clear his voice was now. It was nothing like the way it had faltered at the airport. She hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "Can I ask you something?" Gabe paused, then nodded. "Why did you stutter when you spoke to Aunt Carol?" Gabriel's gaze dropped to his hands. His fingers traced invisible shapes against his coat sleeve. For a moment, Ashley thought he might struggle to answer. Then he spoke. "I don't like her," he said simply. Ashley blinked. "You don't?" He shook his head. "No." "Why not?" Gabriel was quiet for a few seconds, then lifted his head. His expression was serious, yet almost solemn. "She was being mean to you." Ashley felt something shift in her chest. She smiled. He continued. "But she wasn't nice. I know she wasn't happy to see us. She's not like the nice auntie who taught me how to spell." Ashley swallowed. "So I didn't want to talk to her properly," he said. "I didn't want her to hear me." Her grip on his hand tightened before she realized it. That habit. Ashley had noticed it over time, though she had never said it out loud. Whenever Gabriel encountered someone who made him uncomfortable, someone he instinctively distrusted, his speech would falter. The stutter would return briefly, as if his mind were erecting a barrier. At first she had assumed it was psychological, a residual anxiety, a reflex born from past pressure. But slowly, painfully, she had begun to realize the truth. It wasn't a lack of control. It was control itself. Gabriel was choosing, on some instinctive level, when to allow people access to him, when to reveal his fluency, when to retreat behind the stutter like armor.